everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter podcast. And now we're finally here. It's the New Year's Six. These are the biggest bowl games. As I have said in my other two videos I have just made, uh, I'm doing this in three separate videos. So if you have not seen the other two videos of the other bowl games, I'll have those down in the description. In the description down below. I'll also have the Bowl Mania in the description down below. Should you guys want to, compete against us, make your own picks, and see if you can do better than us. So all that's going to be down below in the description. Go check it out. Have fun with it. Uh, I'm gonna spend probably since there's only like 6 games on here, or well, there's technically 7 games with the national championship. Since this is going to be much less games, I'm going to take more time to go into depth about these because I actually can. Starting off New Year's Six. This is actually going to be the last year of which this is really going to be the New Year's Six because we're about to go to a 12-team playoff format, sadly, next year. And I'm gonna take 1 second just to talk about that. I know a lot of people are in favor of the 12-team format. They're happy that more teams are going to make it, and obviously this year you had the massive controversy, as we'll get to that later. As we're going to talk about we're going to talk about a bowl game that involves the two. But even obviously this is the year. This year probably had by far the best teams in any season. I mean, we've never had a year of which we've had this many good teams all in one season. You haven't seen it. And with that being the case, it made it hard. But like I said, in all the years, we have never had this many good teams. It's never really been, maybe you had a stupid headset. You never really had that much of a question. I mean, maybe there was a little bit of doubt in mind, like, oh well, they put this team at number 3 or number 4. Maybe that every once in a while, maybe you had a little bit of a debate between two different teams for the number 4 spot. But really, more than that, you never really had more than 4 good teams. This is just 12 is too many. And I know that many people are very much in favor of the 12-team format. And to me, it's like there's no reason to do this. There isn't. And I know why. They're obviously doing it because it's gonna make them more money. And if you have more games, it means more money. And whether or not the games are competitive or not, who cares? You're gonna make more money. That's really why they're doing it. Otherwise, if it didn't make them more money, if it wasn't in profit to them, they wouldn't care. They would just say, "Forget it. We're just gonna stick with the 4 teams we have." But they know it's going to make them more money, so they say, "Well, yeah. I mean, if we can make more money and sucker more out of people, yeah, we're gonna do it." Look, I'm being real. I'm being serious here. Look. People want money, and if they can make more money, they're gonna do it. So it's frustrating. Obviously, for me, it's very frustrating because the thing is, what they're really doing so much with college sports is they're turning it into pro sports, and I really don't like that because the reason why college sports is so good and is as good as it is because of the fact that it's not like pro sports because it's different, like. And with the transfer portal nowadays, I've been talking about in the other two videos all the different transfers that are going all over the place and so many people missing guys because of the transfer portal. You know, they've really the transfer portal has turned into the free agency of college football. And I get, for some transfers, I get it. Maybe you're behind a bunch of really good. You're behind, someone who maybe is really good, and you're looking for an opportunity maybe to get yourself a better chance to better prove yourself somewhere else. Like, I understand that, you see backups maybe transferring, they go somewhere else and they play pretty well. I get that. That makes sense. Like, there's a backup for Georgia who ended up transferring to Kentucky. He's a backup. He's been behind Carson Beck all year. He thinks, I'm not going to get a chance probably here at Georgia. Let me transfer to Kentucky. Devin Leary, he's going to be gone after this year. I can get a chance to prove myself as a legitimate player. Like, that's the kind of transfer I understand. That's someone who's looking and saying, there's nothing for me here, but over here, there's something that I can work with. That I understand. You're trying to prove yourself. You're not getting the opportunity where you are, so you go somewhere else to get that opportunity. That I get. But there's some transfers I look at, and it's just like, why? Like, it's become the free agency of college football, and that's the thing I don't like. And then with putting in 12 teams, it's essentially making it like an NFL playoff picture. The NFL, they used to do 12 teams. They now do 14 because they added two more wild cards, but they used to do 12 teams, and it's like that. I don't like the fact that they're trying to turn it into pro sports. That's because, like I said, it was good because it was different, and now it's not really that much different anymore, and so it's irritating. I loved having the four different teams because it made it difficult. It made it difficult for everyone to make it, and made people really try hard. And now you're gonna have games like, you could have Michigan, Ohio State both be undefeated playing against each other, and in uh, in the last game of the regular season. Whoever loses is still going to be in the CFP. They're still going to be in the playoffs. Now, obviously, whoever wins gets bragging rights. Whoever wins goes to the Big Ten championship game. But in that scenario, but it kind of takes a lot of fun, a lot of the luster out of those games, because now, obviously it still means a lot. I mean, it's Michigan, Ohio State, but you know, instead of it being, winning you're in, losing you're out, now it's just kind of win and yeah, you won, you win and you get bragging rights. It's like that, that's what really frustrates me, is it takes so much out of so many of the big rivalries. And I mean, obviously there's not going to be phenomenal games, but there's not going to be the conversation like, oh, let's put them out of the CFP, because everybody knows, yeah, they're going to be fine. So, I don't know. That's just me. I've taken too much time to talk about it already. Let's just get into the bowl games. We start with the Goodyear Cotton. We start with the Cotton Bowl, which is the first of the New Year's Six games. We have Missouri taking on Ohio State. Now, Ohio State has had a mass exodus, actually, of players transferring out of their program. With that including Kyle McCord, Chip Trainum, he's gone to Kentucky. As for Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson, I don't. They haven't. Not neither one of them has ended up entering the transfer portal yet. But for Ohio State, I think Travion Henderson is like debating going to the NFL. And as for Mayan Williams, I don't know if he's even healthy. Yeah, no, he had season-ending surgery. So, no Mayan Williams, no Trainum. And if Henderson goes to the NFL draft and skips the bowl game, who knows who their running back is going to be. So, and of course, like I said, Kyle McCord is transferring, so he's gone. There's a good chance that both of their top two receivers, Mecca Abuka and Marvin Harrison Jr., both end up, entering the draft and also skipping the bowl game. In fact, I think Marvin Harrison already did that. Or actually, no, Marvin Harrison is debating it. There's a good chance that both of them could do that. And then their number 3 receiver is transferring. Julian Fleming is in the transfer portal. So many guys transferring for Ohio State, and they are missing a lot of pieces. I think it's too many for them to overcome. I got Missouri. Missouri's got most of their team still. They have pretty much everybody. Ohio State has had this such a mass exodus of people, and they haven't even had their NFL opt-outs yet. They're going to be playing a lot of backups, and that's not going to cut it against Missouri, who put up a fight with Georgia in Athens. I mean, this is a very good Missouri team. Don't get it twisted. This Missouri team is nasty. And you're gonna have to bring your A game. You need all hands on deck, and Ohio State's not gonna have that. So give me Missouri. Uh, as this thing keeps falling off, give me Missouri to get the win over the Buckeyes. Next, we have the Peach Bowl of Ole Miss taking on Penn State. Now, the difference here big difference here. Ole Miss and Penn State actually have their teams pretty much intact. Pretty much everybody's still around. Neither quarterback is transferring. None of the running backs are transferring. As for draft consideration, there's probably a couple. I know Kalen King will probably enter the transfer port or not transfer portal. Will probably enter the NFL draft. That's a big time corner for Penn State. We'll see, when he enters, if he decides to opt out of the bowl game as well. But these are two teams that still have pretty much everybody that got them to 10-2. And this should be a very good bowl game. I'm really excited for this one. Penn State's offense is obviously kind of scampered all season long. I'm blanking out on his name now. Drew Aller has not really panned out like Penn State was hoping. Obviously, they won't let him throw more than like 5 yards down the field, which has kind of made it difficult for Penn State to really run the ball, which is really what they're more so known for. They also don't really have any receivers that can really get open, so obviously the offense for Penn State is quite the struggle bus. As for Ole Miss, they're kind of the opposite as they're a Lane Kiffin team. Lane Kiffin teams love their offense and are absolutely dynamite offensively. But defense is kind of put in the back burner. This is not they don't really tend to care all that much most of the time about defense. Every once in a while they'll have a defensive performance and be like, whoa, that's pretty good. But most of the time this is not really a defensive team. This is a team that they like to score. They want to outscore you. They don't want to fight in a defensive war, which is likely what they'll have to do to beat Penn State. And I'm not sure that Ole Miss can do that. So I got Penn State with the win in the Peach Bowl. I think that defense for Penn State is too tough. And while Drew Aller has not been all that sharp, he's good enough to be able to get them down the field against the Ole Miss defense. I think Penn State gets it done. Should be a very fun game. I think it's really truly a 50-50, and this should be a very fun game to see. But I got the Nittany Lions with a very close win over the Ole Miss Rebels. Now we have the Orange Bowl of Georgia and Florida State. Yeah, you heard me right. Georgia and Florida State. Neither of these two are in the CFP. Now, Georgia, obviously, losing to Alabama put them in a precarious spot. Now, was it by 3 points? Yes. Was it very close and competitive? Yes. It wasn't like Georgia got absolutely dominated. They made it close, and they just came up a hair short. With how many good teams there were in the CFP picture, how many good teams there were this year, they couldn't really afford a loss, and they did. The real crime is Florida State not being in. This is an undefeated champion. They did not lose a single game all year long. They lost their starting quarterback. They lost their backup quarterback. They still beat a top 15 team. Now, do I think they're a top 15 team? That was Louisville. Do I think they're a top 15 team? Absolutely not. I think they're terrible. But the point is, they think they're a top 15 team. Uh, they beat the Heisman Trophy winner. That's gotta count for something. They beat Clemson, who's another top 25 team. They have several ranked wins, and without their top quarterback, they still beat Louisville. And this team is not in the playoff. To me, I think that's beyond disrespectful. And to me, I think it's beyond wrong. And this is not because I want Michigan to play Florida State, which I would, but that's not the point here. The point is they should not be playing in the Orange Bowl. The team that should be playing here should be Bama. Should be Bama. Alabama should not be in the playoff picture. They shouldn't. And it just, to me, I think it's so wrong. Florida State did everything they were asked of. They couldn't have done anything else. They won every game. They beat every team on their schedule. They had several top 25 wins. They even came out. They even overcame a late injury to their star quarterback and still won their last two games. One on the road against their huge rival. Another one in the ACC championship game against a top 15 team in your mind. I mean, at some point, you have to give this team credit for doing what they were supposed to do. And they didn't do that. They gave it to the team that looked horrible at the start of the year, that benched their current starting quarterback because he was that bad. Lost to a team, which is in the CFP, but lost to a team. Then came then came back and started playing a little bit better, and they had better games as the year went along. And then nearly lost in their second to last game of the year against their arch rival. And if it wasn't for probably one of the stupidest plays I've ever seen, one of the stupidest coverages by Auburn, they'd probably lose that game. But this is the team that they put ahead of Florida State. If I'm a Florida State fan, I go, what are we supposed to do? Like, what more can we do, or could we have done? And the answer is nothing. I mean, there isn't anything they could have done, and to me, it's just sad, And so for this game, Florida State's obviously lost a lot of people. As you can tell, I'm still pretty fuming about that. If you guys watched the beginning of the year when we did the college football, fantasy draft thing, which we've done that the past few years now. We have actually everybody doing it this year. Me, Sam, Serbensky, we've all gotten involved this time. Well, I have Florida State, so them not being included in the playoff is really a killer. But anyways, I got Georgia winning this one. Florida State is just missing way too many people. They've had already several. They've already had a couple opt-outs. Johnny Wilson's already opted out. I think Keon Coleman's about to opt out. I don't know if he has already, but he probably will. Jared Verse could opt out. So there's going to be too many people missing for Florida State. I got Georgia taking them down in the Orange Bowl, and it probably won't be that close. But really, I feel for Florida State fans. It just absolute travesty that they're not in the playoff. It just so wrong. And now next we have the Fiesta Bowl of the Liberty Flames taking on the Oregon Ducks. And Liberty has had a really good season. And it's going to be interesting to see for Oregon who ends up playing the bowl game and who doesn't. Because as of right now, there is a couple players for Oregon who actually a couple players for Oregon who actually have entered the draft and aren't going to be playing for this game. And so obviously, I'm pretty at least I know they've entered the draft. I don't know if they are, skipping the bowl game. Um, but in any case, I think there's probably a good chance that Bo Nix is even. I really love Liberty's team. This is an offensive dynam. They're offensively just absolute dynamite. And we kind of saw a similar thing last year where a Pac 12 team, now this is a little different, but a Pac 12 team in USC played Tulane. Nobody expected Tulane to win this game. I picked Tulane, partially because Caleb Williams was hurt, but I'm like, this defense just sucks. They can't stop anybody. This is a decent Tulane team. This is a team that wants badly to win this game, and they have nothing to lose. Like, they win this. This is a huge program boost. If they don't, then well, we lost to USC, which is a massive program. Like, they got nothing to lose in this game. Liberty, they have nothing to lose in this game. I got the Flames, honestly. I think Oregon, two losses to Washington, kind of disheartening. They had a chance at the CFP. They came up short by 3 points in both games. And I got the Liberty Flames. They've been having such a great season. Is it partially because I really love Liberty? Well, I mean, kind of take a guess. What do you think? But I still think Liberty's got a very good chance. I think they pull this one through, and I think Oregon goes down. Would love to see that, but I'm gonna go with Liberty. I think they could get it done. Then you have the now we officially have what I'm sure everybody's been waiting for. Bang and bang. We have the semifinals. So first we start with the Rose Bowl, which is where the Wolverines will play. And of course, everybody knows their opponent is Alabama. Should not be Alabama. Should be Florida State, but it's Alabama, and I can tell you why. Because they know Bama. They think that Bama is going to bring in more money than Florida State. It really is just as a popularity contest, but I'm not going to keep going into that. Bama, Michigan. Alabama's been a little bit better to end the season here, but they still have shown a little bit of some signs of weakness. Michigan hasn't really been that great at the end of the year, though, either. I mean, J.J. McCarthy has had some sloppy games. And really, we're gonna need him to really step it up if we're going to win this one against Alabama. Because as much as I love Blake Corum, as much as I love Donovan Edwards, those two alone are not going to win this game for Michigan. We're going to need J.J. McCarthy to show the NFL talent of which that he has in this game to get us a win. And you know what? I think he does it. I think J.J. McCarthy gets it done, and the Wolverines, they get the win. Now, is this me being a hopeful Michigan fan? Well, duh. But um, this is a Bama team that is vulnerable. I mean, it has shown that it is vulnerable. And there is a way to beating Alabama. Are they a good team? Of course they are. It's a Nick Saban-led team. They're always good, most of the time. But, this is a Michigan team that really many people would probably see this as Michigan's best chance to win a national championship, and honestly, it is. We have pretty much as good of an offensive line as you're going to get. Of course, we've lost a couple people due to injuries, but you have an outstanding offensive line. You have outstanding running backs. You have a pretty good-looking receiving core. You have an outstanding tight end in Colston Loveland, and another good tight end, A.J. Barner. Your quarterback is pretty darn good. Your defense is loaded with really good players. Will Johnson's turning into a top corner in the country right now. You have good linebackers. You have a good defensive line. I mean, this team is loaded. and they have everything that you could ask for. And the real question is, can they put it all together? Can they really? Can everybody? Can they show that they're a championship worthy team against Bama, who, I mean, I don't know if they're really championship worthy, but this is a Bama team that's gotten themselves here still. Well, I should be Florida State, but they got themselves here. So it's not like they're chump change. And because obviously because the name is Bama, I think Michigan isn't going to do what they did last year against TCU. At least I hope. That's the side of me going, please don't do that again. But I'm gonna go with the Wolverines. Every time I look at this matchup more and more, the only thing that I'm really that concerned about for Michigan is the mobile ability of Jalen Milroe. I'm not scared of Milroe throwing the football. I'm really not. But when this guy runs, he's nasty. And we gotta keep this guy contained. We gotta keep this guy in the pocket. We gotta make sure this guy doesn't start running wild. If he does, it's gonna be a long day. But if we can keep him if we can keep him contained for the most part. I mean, obviously there's gonna be every once in a while where he probably rips off a nice run and gets a big gain. I don't expect to keep him to 10 yards rushing. That's not gonna happen. But if we can keep him in check for most of the game, like I said, every once in a while he gets a nice run. But if we can keep him in check most of the game, that gives us a chance. That gives us a opportunity to win this one. Otherwise, we could be in for a long day. But I'm gonna go with the Wolverines to get it done in this one. And then we have the Sugar Bowl with the bowl game rematch of Texas and Washington. Last year, this was in, like I said earlier in the previous video, in the Alamo Bowl with Texas and Washington. Washington, that game was also the higher ranked team, ironically. Now, of course, like I said, was Penix versus Ewers. Is the same matchup again here in the Sugar Bowl. This is the first ever playoff appearance for Texas, the second for Washington. Washington's team really consists of pretty much Michael Penix and Rome Odunze. They have one decent player on defense, but really the rest of the defensive unit's kind of a mess. And as for the offense, like I said, you got Rome Odunze. There's another good receiver that they have, and I think there's a tight end. And their running back is solid as well for Washington. They're an offensive team. I mean, that's really what they are. As for Texas, this is a more, I would say, balanced approach. I'd say Texas is more so. They have a good offense. I mean, they have Xavier Worthy, who is an outstanding receiver, and obviously Quinn Ewers is a very good quarterback. He's obviously going to make good plays for Texas, and is going to be a good player for them. And obviously he's a good quarterback for them. The running back for Texas has been solid this year, and Jonathan Brooks. Obviously he's been having a solid season. But really the big part for Texas, I would say, that, really separates them from Washington is the defense. Their defense has some playmakers. The Texas defense is not chump change. Like, their defense is not going to make it easy for opponents. They're not going to just let you run up and down the field, let you, just toss it around up and down the field. That's not something that Texas is really going to allow you to do. They're not really that special, actually, against the passing attack, but Texas is a very good run defense. So really, obviously that kind of plays a little into Washington's strength of passing the ball because they're really a more heavy passing team than they are running. But I don't know. Washington is a very good team, don't get me wrong, but I think they're just too offensively oriented. I think Texas has the edge with the balanced approach, and I think they get the upset, they get it done, and they get revenge for the Alamo Bowl last year. Texas gets the win. They head to the championship game. which will set up for what I have. Obviously, I don't know if it'll really actually happen this way. I I hope it does. I don't really care who wins that game. I mean, but this is my national championship game. I have the Texas Longhorns heading to the title game, heading to Houston, and taking on the Michigan Wolverines to win it all. And of course, I'm going to be Homer. I'm taking Michigan. Now, if that was the actual national championship game and that's what actually takes place, I would be honestly decently confident with the Wolverines taking it. This is this Michigan team, like I said. I mean, they're like Texas. They're a balanced approach. They have it all. They have a good defense. I'd say their defense is better than Texas. And Michigan has a good offense. I don't know if that's as good as Texas, but they have an offense that's good enough to get points. They have an offense that's good enough to score and is good enough to keep people off balance. So if this is a real matchup, I think it would probably come down once again to J.J. McCarthy. I mean, that's really going to be the whole key to Michigan winning it all. And that's really going to be the same case for all these quarterbacks. You know, depending on the play of Quinn Ewers, who has had an up and down college career. When he's up, he's outstanding. When he's down, he can be down. For Jalen Milroe, you know, will he be the guy that he's been these past few weeks, or will he revert to early season Jalen Milroe? And as for Michael Penix, he's had an off game or two. You know, will he be that guy who's had an off game or two, or will he be the guy that you know, put himself borderline, who almost won the Heisman Trophy? So that's really what you're looking at for for these teams. This is why, this is what I could see as being a likely championship game, and in that case, I would have the Wolverines. Now, again, since I'm a Michigan fan, this is kind of biased, kind of a little biased, but um, you know, I honestly, you know, realistically, I could very much see this being the national championship game. Um, it should be it should be two very good CFP games. Of course, being the Wolverine fan I am, I'm really hoping that the first one doesn't end up being a third straight loss. But I still think this should be a fantastic CFP. It's gonna be sad to see the four-team format go. And it'll be nice when the four-team format lasted. We'll sign it off after. Of course, this is also the last year of normal college football, since the Pac-12 is going to cease to exist, which will also be weird. Just not seeing a whole entire conference from a year ago. Just seeing the entire thing just disappear. You know, just very strange, and I'm sure that's going to be just really, really odd to just see the entire conference just go from being always there and you know, having a large history, being so good for so many years, and then just poof, gone. Like, gonna be very strange to see that. It's a sad time. It's always sad when you're talking about football and you're talking about the end of the season. You're like, wait, it's almost over already. It's always fun. I as you can tell, I really love my football. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and this is actually the final college football video. I might do maybe like a review of some of the bowl games later after they've all taken place, but as of right now, this is the last one of the season, so enjoy it while it lasts. So, for the last time for college football, I will see you until next year. Until then, adios, everyone.